Good evening, guys. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Good evening to you indeed. I appreciate indeed. It's on Thursday. On Thursday, yes. Mhm. Let me just pick my glass of water. Let me pick my glass of water. Hmm. Karitha underscore Kim and Kavudha. Mr. Barry. What's up? How you doing? How are you doing this very evening? Eschaton. It depends from where you're watching. This is evening East African time, 8 p.m. We talked and we said today on Thursday we are going to make something out of this conversation. So Trish Marcy, I can see Donny KE at NZA3, user 77409551802237. Agri Baba, what's up, memes? What's up, memes? How you doing? Skillers MA1, what's up? What's up? How you doing? I want to say thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you coming through and all that. I appreciate so much. I don't take it for granted. It's quite an amazing evening. If you're watching me, it's 8 p.m. East African time. 8 p.m. East African time. I can see Essie Love. What's up, Essie Love? Thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate indeed. Well, Stevie G, what's up? Supergirl Collection, Karibu Sana. And everyone that is coming through, I just want to say thank you. Remember, you're watching me 8 p.m. East African time. So if you're watching me all the way from Tanzania, all the way from Uganda, and all the way from South Africa, Namibia, Burkina Faso, Botswana, Swaziland, and all parts of Africa, welcome and thank you so much. And also, I want to welcome the people that are watching me here in Kenya. I just want to say thank you, Karibu Sana. It is a pleasure and a pleasure indeed. Welcome. So, this is not a religious platform. This is a kingdom platform. We talk about finances. We talk about relationships and marriage. We talk about understanding the marketplace, understanding spirituality, and we tackle various issues on defining manhood and also getting to understand who the woman is. Just the other day, the UK announced that they want to teach the men on how, or the boys, how to respect women. And I asked myself a question: what about women? What are women going to be taught? Quite unfortunate. It's a topic of another day. But today we want to talk about something different. We want to talk about, remember, it's January, and so many people call it, especially here in Kenya, we like mentioning it and calling it out in January, but it's January. And in January, especially, I don't know about other countries, but here in Kenya, so many people complain about their finances, complain about how they want to save money. It's all about money, 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 taking kids to school, doing this and that. So today we want to talk about that. We want to go on that very line so that we can establish something fundamental. So what do I mean? I know some of you, especially in Kenya, this some little money you have and you're wondering how it's going to be. Today we want to talk about the concept of wealth creation, the concept of wealth creation, in relationships, in marriage, in business, and also making sure that you get to understand what we're going to talk about. We are also going to tackle this issue on matters, direction, spirituality, and all that. So I'm going to make sure that we establish something. So I have a few points, just a few points here. And I'm going to be doing this very live for 1 good hour. It's going to be a class for 1 hour. And as we continue, if you're joining me, there's a master class that we're going to be having. A master class that we're going to be having. So, and if you really love to join that masterclass, please, this is a new year. Come, let us just get a hold of knowledge and establish our way of thinking. Today, I was with someone and I was learning about AI. I was learning about the AI because the future is, AI. The future is technology. The future is technology. So I was learning and I had to pay to learn. So If you're in this platform, remember, it's an opportunity for you to learn, and it's also for an opportunity for you to, buy what you really want to save. If you see value on what I'm presenting, please be a part of this conversation, and I'll be glad to take you through a journey of growth, a journey of purpose, and a journey of renewing your mind. So, without wasting time, remember, if you're watching me from whatever place you're watching me, Karibu Sana. I just mentioned guys from Africa. Let me mention guys all the way from Europe. If it's UK, you're watching me from. If it's Canada, Australia, United States of America, and all other parts of Europe, I just want to say Karibu Sana, Karibuni Sana, and also Asia, all the continents, in fact. Karibuni Sana, thank you. Here in Kenya and in Swahili, we say Karibu Sana, Hakuna Matata. So Karibu Sana, welcome and welcome indeed. So let me big up a few people who I'm just coming across right now. I can see Nora, I can see Mothoni, I can see KEN, and I can also see Maggie, love Maggie, love, Karibu Sana. I can also see Solace 200 underscore gaming. I can see who else? Is it Versace? I can see Versace, Karibu Sana. Karibu Sana, thank you so much. Welcome indeed. I can see Galaxy. A Galaxy 009001. Thank you at Tosh Pig Farm. Oh, Pig Farm. Tosh. I used to be a farmer who used to keep, but Karibu Sana, Mama Shan, 13, Gike, Lydia Kim, Ruthie, Brittany, Chelsea, 8. Welcome indeed. Papa, what's up, Papa? How you doing, brother? Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for coming through indeed. So I don't want to waste much time. I just want to go to the topic of the day because I only have 1 good hour with you. So on Tuesday, I just announced that today on Thursday, I'm going to establish something. And for sure, I had to come up with this. So if you're joining this particular moment, I want you to know that we're going to talk about the concept of wealth creation. It's January, and I know so many people speak words and they say words. Oh, it's a difficult month. It's a month of hunger. It's a month of destitute. It's a month of crazy things. But please take your time. Take your time. Just listen to what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to bore you. I'm not going to make you feel like it was worthless being here. Be a part of this conversation. At Papa, I am doing great. I can see you have a lot of energy to pour. Yes, indeed, I have a lot of energy to pour. It's 2026, the 8th day of this very month, depending from which country you're coming from. I can, I know, like right now, Ethiopia, they're in 2018. So we have, with that, I just had to come to a conclusion that time is an illusion. Time is an illusion. If guys, we are still in the same generation, we are still in the same moment in time, and there are guys who are still in 2018. Oh, amazing. And there are guys who went before us. They were celebrating New Year, even after us and before us. Come on, it's crazy. So, Blessed G254. Wow, have you been Blessed G254? Thank you. Ken, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate indeed also. So, let me take it straight to our conversation, the concept of wealth creation, especially in this very month of January. Oh, yes. The concept of wealth creation, especially this month. All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Blessed Jutafai, thank you, thank you. And everyone that is watching Karibuni Sana. You can also share this live. Please share this live. And remember, guys, if you want to book a session with me, go to www.salimcyrusconnect.org. You can click the link in my bio, and there's so much info that you're going to get. www.salimcyrusconnect.org. And if you want to learn a lot from me, if you want to learn so much from me, get to know who I am, go to www.salimcyrus.com. And you're going to learn so much in those very platforms. So let's continue. January. So I don't know which country you're watching me from, but I believe you've come to this very platform with a purpose. And if you just came across me, trust me, you didn't click that very clip by coincidence. No, it is something that has a purpose. And I want to tell you, it's very important for each one of us to understand that in order for us to get into the place of growth, we need to be established in the place of knowledge. Because growth does not come just like that. Knowledge is what will determine our growth. But the problem with so many of us, we want knowledge, we want to do knowledge, we want to get the best out of knowledge, but we don't want to apply the knowledge we already have. It is like faith. The problem with so many of us, we have faith, but we do not know how to use the faith that we already have. And I want you to know one thing: faith is not limited only to religious people. Faith is not limited to only religious people, Christians, Hindus, Muslims, or any other person that is of any religious sect. No. Faith is a God given ability upon humanity. It is a God given humanity, God given ability upon all flesh, upon all humanity. So you don't need to be a religious person to have faith. Faith is something that is already in you. So the problem is most of us are not willing to use the faith we already have to get it right in this life. And that is why most of us are failing. We think that faith, you pray for faith to come in you. No, we do not pray for faith to come in us. We have faith already to do whatever we desire. And I'm not speaking based on religious standards and ideologies. No, I'm not here to preach any religion. I just want you to understand what you carry. So today's topic is that, creating, the concept of creating wealth, the concept of wealth creation. That is what I'm about to talk about. So I'm just laying a foundation right here. So one of the things also I've come across, so many people, is that people tend to think that when, you have faith, you can do crazy things in this life. And then they think faith is something that you think about it for things to happen. But faith requires what we call action. Faith requires action, and action in itself comes from what we call discipline. You need to be disciplined enough to act on what you desire to achieve. But most of you are not willing to do that because your mindset is still based on what, for lack of a better word, your mindset is still of a losing person, of a losing human being. You know what I mean? But the reality of the matter is, we can grow beyond what we are thinking if we are willing to change our mindset, if we are willing to change our way of thinking. So, as I was coming up with this very topic, the concept of wealth creation, basically how to know, basically how to understand how the money world works, how the system functions. I sat down and deeply searched on these things, and I found out that most of us, we are doing it wrong, including me. I was in a place of just trying to put things into perspective, but I was not acting based on how things should be done. And I've realized I've lost a lot of time and lost a lot of things, and many people have lost a lot of ways that I could have used to get myself in check. And that is why it is important, my dear brothers and sisters, for us to structure ourselves in the place of knowledge, because knowledge is what will break us free from any kind of ideology or any kind of situation that tries to pull us down. So my people perish because of lack of knowledge. That very phrase or that very statement or that very verse from the Bible is a very powerful one. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. So religious people think that that very statement is only limited to Christians, limited to believers in Christ. No, that very statement is limited to as many people as it can hold, because my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Remember, we are all God's people. We are all children of God. It is just like a parent who has, so many children, and there are those who have their own beliefs, those who have their own ways of doing things, and there are those who are focused on Him and dependent on Him. And there are those who don't care. There are those who are just crazy. But the same father, the same parent will love the children equally. And that is God. God loves us equally. So what do I mean? My people perish because of lack of knowledge. And that is why when we get to see what happened to Africans many years ago, we lost our rights because we lacked knowledge. We lost our rights because we lacked knowledge. And that is why most of us, we are failing and we are losing to understand the purposes of this life. So when it comes to creating wealth, there are certain concepts, principles, values, determining factors that will enable us to establish the realities of what it is to live a life of freedom. Because wealth in itself creates, a room for you to enjoy freedom. And that freedom, we call it financial freedom. And you, my brother and my sister, you understand this is January, and it is January, and so many of you are taking children to school. You are doing businesses, and things are not, working out. For those that are in Kenya, you know what happened to one of the buildings along Luthuli Avenue. It burned, and there are few people who went down, and it was so crazy. And so many people were feeling like things are not going to work out. But the reality is this, my dear brothers and sisters. How you perceive, how you see things really matters a lot. When others are complaining about January, when others are saying January is a difficult moment, when others are saying and talking and saying January is, or a certain time or a certain season, it is difficult. You as a human being, you determine how everything is going to settle. And that is why I want to establish something in this very moment so that you and I can begin to see how can I build myself and structure myself despite seasons and moments of this life. The problem with us is that most of us, we are thinking about employment. The other day I was just reading a book and this got my attention. Your parents give birth to you, and then it comes to a point that you want to go to school. And then after school, you go to the primary level, secondary level, university level, and then, college and whatever. And then you look at the money that your parents have used for all that time. And then you get employed to get a job that will pay you 50,000 Kenyan shillings, 20,000 Kenyan shillings. Or you go to a certain place, you're employed, and quite unfortunate. Essay, you're saying, I believe the long holiday were made to distract us as life is continuous. Yes. That is one of the reasons I can say. It is one of the reasons, especially Africans. Especially Africans. There are certain things and protocols and systems that were created to deviate our attention to what is true and definite, to what is fundamental. And that is why this platform, I'm here to let you know that you need to establish something that is concrete, that you can now make your mind become a better place of doing things the way they're supposed to be done. So what do I mean in this moment? It is you who determines how things will become. When others are so negative about days, about seasons, and about moments, the way you perceive it, you will determine the outcome of it. There's one thing I chose. There's one thing that I chose. I will never speak bad about any day. I will never speak evil about any day. I will never speak negativity about any moment in life. Because the reality is, for you to be focused on what is structural, you need to take responsibility. Thank you so much for the follow. I can see Yasukis. Thank you so much. So I want you to understand, my brothers and my sisters, we are living in a time whereby you need to structure yourself. Let me give a good example before I get to my first point. Just the other day, I was, 15 years old. The other day, I looked at myself as only 20 years old, 30 years old. And right now, I'm looking at myself, even if I won't mention my age. Come on. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm wondering, I'm almost, 50 years is just probably around the corner. I'm saying probably around the corner. And I look back and I see there are times and there are seasons and there are moments that I've wasted. What are you doing with your life? Let me tell you, right now you're going out, you're having fun, you're enjoying, which is good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's beautiful to create memories, it's beautiful to create moments in life. But the question is this: are you determined to see yourself in a place of stability? Just today, I was watching online and I saw this man who has been in Nairobi for the last 6 years, for the last 6 decades, not 6 years, 6 decades. And this guy has gone back to, to up country or rural area, and he's gone there, and right now he's living that life. And that guy, he looks back and says, the 6 decades I've been in Nairobi, there's something that I've come back home with. He has retired, but there's something tangible, something concrete with himself. So what are you doing with yourself? So today's topic, the concept of wealth creation. As I was thinking through this very topic, I realized that wealth in itself is not a miracle that happens mid-year. Wealth is not a miracle that happens mid-year. So let me establish something. Most of you tend to think that wealth comes by praying. I'm speaking to you. I've met so many people who are prayerful. They're committed to prayer and they're praying to God. And they're telling God, do something new. Do something new. Create a way. Do something. Go, let your favor. But there's one thing that people need to understand, that the favor of God is upon each one of us. God is not wicked to just pour his favor upon a few people and others are not experiencing it. It is human ideology. We tend to think that way. But the reality is we are God's children. And the problem is we are not applying the principles and the values. We are not applying the purposes and getting to see how we can create wealth. So prayer is not a success equation. No matter how good you are in prayer, no matter how good you are in speaking in tongues, no matter how good you are in wearing that long gown and going down and bowing down and pray 7 times, 4 times, 3 times a day, it doesn't matter. It does not create wealth. God is not a materialistic being. I want you to get me right. I want you to understand one thing, that the blessings we tend to think that are blessings, in reality to God, materialistic blessings are not what are profound. So that you and I can begin to see the reality of how things should be. So what am I trying to say, my brothers and my sisters? Wealth is not a miracle that happens mid-year. It is a decision made at the beginning. So do you want to see yourself wealthy? There are decisions that you have to make. Number one, who are the people that are surrounding you? If the people that you're surrounding yourself with are not focused to where you're going, are not aligned to your purpose, you need to let them go. Sometimes, I get to see people say, you know what, God removed these people from my life. No, it is not God who removed them from your life most of the time. So sometimes it's, oh God. Oh yes. Sometimes it's because you are very toxic and that is why people left. Sometimes it's because you're very toxic, narcissistic, and incompetent. That is why people left. But you as an individual, you have to see, why are people leaving? Sometimes the right people can leave you thinking that you're going to get the right people. Yes, it might happen. But the reality of the matter is, you need to be very sensitive when it comes to people who surround you. So, wealth creation is determined also by the decision you make. If you want to be successful, if you want to be a person of wealth, there are certain things that you need to consider. I go through social media and I get to see so many people talk and say, so many people are coming online and they're speaking about wealth. They're coming online and they're talking about money, and I sit down and I wonder, why. It is important to listen and get something that will help you and structure you to become a better person in this very life. So, my point is this: in order for you to be structured, you need to make a decision. So, remember, January in itself is not a festive month. Like we all know, it is a month that so many people cry and say, oh, this one is dealing with us in a way that is not right. Oh, this one is pathetic. This month is not the right month. Whatever you speak, whatever you say with your mouth, remember, out from the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaketh. So, whatever is in your heart, whatever negativity, whatever situation that you really want to bring it to light, one of the things that you have to do is to speak it. So, January in itself, it is a government month. We all know that. It is a government month. It is a month that we go to work. It is a month that we take children to school. It is a month that was systematically put there so that we can get to know month. But remember, time in itself, personally, it is an illusion. So remember, what you tolerate, what you plan and prioritize in this very month becomes your financial prophecy for the rest of your year. Whatever you tolerate, whatever you plan and prioritize in this very month, especially the month of January, becomes your financial prophecy for the rest of your year. So you don't need a preacher to come and prophesy to you. You don't need a prophet to come and prophesy to you and tell you this year is going to be a great year. This year is no. If you lack discipline, this year is going to be hectic for you. If you lack alignment, this year is going to be crazy for you and to the people that surround you. But you need to be very, very intentional on how you're going to approach this very year. Please, my dear brothers and sisters, if you have a question, please, if you have any comment, please, you can just put it there and I'll be able to, answer the questions you ask, and I'll be able to, mention probably the comments you put across. So remember, this is not a religious platform. This is not a religious platform. Olebogang, thank you so much. May God bless you, my brother. You are helping us. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I got to look at the book of Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3 to 4. The concept of wealth creating. The concept of wealth creation. Through wisdom, a house is built. Through wisdom, a house is built. So when I got to see this very line, through wisdom, a house is built, one of the questions is this: what are you trying to create based on the purposes that are so inside of you, based on the reality of what you want to achieve? Because through wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding, it is established. And by knowledge, its rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant or whatever riches, with all precious and pleasant riches. So, my brothers and my sisters, we have to look at what I was talking about: knowledge. Knowledge is what will enable us to see the reality of what we want to achieve, because it is in knowledge that we are able to establish successful paths. They always say what you don't know doesn't kill you. But I want to make it clear to you and deconstruct that ideology. What you don't know will eventually destroy you. what you don't know will eventually kill you. Why? Because knowledge opens up your mind. Look at the people that are ignorant to wisdom. What happens to them? They fail, they lose themselves in the process. I've met with so many people. You try to explain to them the realities of what they need to do, but because they lack that understanding, they do not establish something in them. So, what happens? They lose that capacity to understand how to navigate in this life. Because today I was just sitting around this young man and he was teaching me about, technology, the advancement of AI and all those things. Very knowledgeable young man. And one of the things, as we were sitting down, I realized I know nothing. And then this young man decided to tell me, I want to go to the rooftop, but I don't have the key to use an elevator to go up. And then I gave him that key. And I told him, you can use this key. So the young man went to the elevator, but he did not know how to use that key. He came back to the house and he told me, brother, how should I use this? So that gave me a knowledge to understand that we do not know everything. I might be speaking here, but I don't know everything, but I know something. So I'm bringing to your attention that you need to know something so that you can begin to see yourself propagate, become, and have something that is tangible so that you can begin to see growth in your life. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm speaking this with an intention to bring you into a place of certainty, not uncertainty, but bring you to a place of principle and value. So this month or this year will become a great year based on the decisions that you make. So if you want to see yourself have something at the end of this year, there are things you need to let go. I spoke about people. Number two, your attitude. If you want to see yourself grow, change your attitude. Remember, even in marriage, it is your attitude that will determine the depth of that very relationship. You want to see your marriage grow? Change your attitude, my sister. Change your attitude, my brother. Become a person of integrity to bring something that is of, visibility and truth into that very space you're in. Because growth is not something that comes by just speaking. It comes by you acting and working on it and doing what is required to bring something that is futuristic. Let me go to point number one because of time. I'm only remaining with 30 minutes. So let me go to point number one. And if you really want to learn more, please, you can book a session with me and you can wait for the masterclass. It is coming. So point number one. This month is known as a month of survival. So January is where survival thinking must die. Point number one, January is where survival thinking must die. So what do I mean? Survival thinking is something that asks, or survival thinking asks, how do I get through this month? How do I get through this month? You look at the bills that are before you, or, at the end of the month of January, you try to see and you try to embrace the reality of January. Quite unfortunate. But you have to change your mindset to begin to see yourself become. The other day I was just listening to this lady on TEDx, and she was speaking, and she was bringing out something. This lady, she does not acknowledge God, but I could hear her say, "Whatever you speak with your mouth, you create it. Whatever you think with your mind, you are almost creating it, because we create things here and we form it with our mouths. So when you create it here, it is something you are thinking about. When you speak it, you are bringing it to life. So survival thinking asks, how do I get through this month? So what do you want to achieve at the end of this month? What do you want to achieve at the end of this year? you need to change your way of thinking. Change your mind, and everything around you will change, my dear brothers and sisters. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to rejuvenate and transform your thinking. Remember, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world. The other time I was arguing with this guy and he was telling me, you know what, brother, when that verse tells us, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This person was speaking to me and telling me, it is also sin. And I asked him, what is sin? In the Hebrew, which Hebrew is not a spiritual language, in the Greek in itself, it is not a spiritual or heavenly language. It is an earthly language. So in the Greek and in the Hebrew, when you get to see the word sin in itself means unbelief. Unbelief. And I'm going to be talking about it. There are certain meanings about it. So you need to realize that being transformed by the renewing of your mind, not renewal, but renewing of your mind, it is a continuous thing. It is something that should happen over and over. So do not be conformed by the patterns or to the patterns of this world. It's all about not functioning based on the structures and the systems of these, of the world and how they are put. Because the system of this world has a way of doing things. It's corrupt in itself. And it wants to make you think that you need to work 24 hours a day to make money. But kingdom-minded people, they do not function based on that. Kingdom-minded people, they apply that which already exists in them and they bring it to life. And that is why the many people that broke out from certain systems, today they're very wealthy and they are living a life of freedom. So survival thinking will always ask you, how do I get through this month? And then there is what we call strategic thinking. Strategic thinking asks, how do I govern this year? Strategic thinking is a kingdom mentality idea. So for you, my dear brothers and sisters, we all need to function on kingdom aspects. Kingdom aspects. So anytime you introduce the kingdom mentality, that is when governments will fight you. Religious institutions will fight you and all that. And that is why I love this man Jesus, because of one thing. In the book of Luke chapter 17 verse 20 to 25, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they came and asked him a question. Now tell us about heaven. And then Jesus was giving them this answer and telling them, you know what? The kingdom of God, stop expecting it to come from the sky. Stop expecting it to come from the north or the west. No. The kingdom of God is within you. So whatever you're praying for, my dear brothers and sisters, you need to realize it already exists in you. Whatever you've been asking God for, He already accomplished it. And I'll make it clear to you. When God created Adam and Eve, what He did, He put everything in Him. And what did He do? He said, go ye, multiply. So we are here to multiply. We are here to manifest. We are here to reveal. We are here to bring it to light. Thank you, Elijah Gashi. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. So we are here to produce. We are here to reveal. We are here to bring everything in its totality. So most people remain poor because they start their year reacting instead of ruling. Most people remain poor because they start the year reacting instead of ruling. Remember, money is not the goal. Elijah Gashi, where do you preach from? Oh, Elijah, thank you so much for asking that. I'm in Mombasa. And thank God you're asking where I preach from. I don't like calling myself a pastor. At the end of the day, I'm not a pastor indeed, but I just love doing what I'm doing, bringing this into the light. And that is what I'm doing. So most people remain poor because they start the year reacting instead of ruling. In fact, Elijah Gashi, I'm a life mentor, I'm a life coach, a spiritual mentor, and a kingdom strategist. So anytime, if you really want to invite me to your places, click the link in my bio and I'll be very happy to attend indeed. And then we can arrange on some logistics too. So most people remain poor because they start the year reacting instead of ruling. So there's an attitude that most of us do have, you know, that attitude of reacting when a certain month comes, like right now, January. So many people are like, my God, January is going to be hectic, it's going to be sunny and all that. That is a negative ideology. It is a negative thought and word that you're speaking. And the problem is you cannot navigate into this year if you're not willing to change your way of speaking, your way of thinking, and your way of acting. So God enabled you to be a part of this moment so that you can rule in this moment. And let me give you one thing. God did not create humanity to rule over each other. The governments that you're seeing are man-made governments. The governments that you're seeing are man-made government. And the governments that you're seeing, it is not necessarily that God brought these governments into power. Because God is not in, we can talk as much, we can bring as much, ideas on this very thing, but the reality is not every person that you see, in fact, 98 point something percent of the leaders in the world, God did not initiate them. It was our it was our votes, and it was their corrupt ideas that brought them into power. Most of them, we all know that. We all know that. So most of us will remain poor because we start every moment and every year of our lives by reacting. And it is quite unfortunate. You were bought and brought into this moment to rule, to make it work, to bring things into purpose, to bring things into life. The problem is you cannot see it, my sister. You cannot see it, my brother. So most people spend before they structure. You spend. December was a month where so many people were spending. They want to go for holidays. They want to go to see their mama and their daddy and whatever and go do. And you spend a lot of money without structuring. You need to have a plan on this very thing. So they spend before they structure, consume before they plan, and celebrate before they prepare. And it is quite unfortunate. You need to have structure on how you're going to spend your money, and you need to have a plan before you consume, and you need to to prepare before you celebrate. That is how things are made, and that is how things are fashioned indeed. I think I'm remaining with only 15 minutes. So I came, in fact, that very verse I was just sharing here. Do not be conformed to this world. That is Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world. It's superficial values. Superficial values. Skivon, thank you for the follow. So do not be conformed to this world. It's superficial values. But be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's upon that renewing of your mind that you're going to be structured, that you're going to be built up, made whole, brought to a place of completeness, structured to something that is going to make you grow. But the problem is you cannot see it. You cannot have it if you're not willing to change your way of thinking. So if January looks like December, poverty is already scheduled. You need to have a plan every month. You need to have a structure every month so that you can be able to see yourself grow, see yourself have something that is futuristic, that is fundamental, that is amazing, that is workable indeed. So let me go to point number 2 because of time also. Because of time. Point number 2. Discipline determines freedom. Discipline determines freedom. It can be discipline in January, which will determine freedom in December. So discipline determines freedom. So what am I talking about? When you have discipline, you have to realize discipline in itself must override emotion. Discipline must override emotion. Do not deal with situations and do not deal with things in this life based on how you feel. Remember the feelings that you have, the emotions that you have most of the time. I can tell you scientifically, those are just chemical reactions. And in due time, they're going to calm down. And that is why when it comes to spending, do not spend based on how you feel. When it comes to marrying, don't just marry based on how you feel. It is very crucial because marriage is a decision. Finances, creating wealth, having money is a decision. And it is not a decision that comes from how you feel. It is a decision that comes from the core of your heart. It is a decision that you determine from within you. So spending emotionally, it's very, very, very insensitive. Spending emotionally. In fact, in this way, it is how people, you know, lose their wealth in time. It is how people become poor in time. When you begin to spend emotionally, have you seen people, even if it's given to your church, please, even if it's given to people who need money, stop giving emotionally. You need to be structured. And that is why I've seen people crying so much. I used to give my 10% and give whatever I was giving in the church, and I'm still poor. It is because you were not structured in a way that will enable you to see something that is of purpose in your life. My dear brothers and sisters, in fact, I can talk about that a little bit. When it comes to you to giving your money to church and whatever institution or organization, don't do it emotionally. I want you to understand one thing. God is not desperate for your wealth. God is not desperate for your money. God is not even a materialistic being. So you need to be very intentional on how you deal with your finances. Because at the end of the day, God is not going to eat your money. God is not going to take that money and go for vacation with it. God is not going to take that money and pay school fees with it. It is your pastor. It is your bishop. It is the people, the clergy around you. Am I denying you a chance to give to your ministry and whatever? No, I'm not denying you. It's your decision. But the reality is, you need to be very focused on what is productive. You need to be accountable. You need to be a responsible thinker. So before you give, you need to think about the nitty-gritties. Why am I giving? And if I'm giving, how should I do it? So discipline in itself, you have to understand it is not punishment. So you have to discipline yourself because discipline will craft you and align you to what is of purpose. So I'm speaking like this so that I can bring you into the light of what you need to do and understand so that your way of doing things and your way of making things become can change and you can do it right this time round. So discipline determines freedom. So if you want to be free from certain systems that break you, that do not make you have something substantial, you need to structure yourself. So discipline is not punishment. It is in fact prophetic alignment. I'm not here to preach religion. So when so many people get to hear about the word prophetic and all that, they tend to think it's, this person is a religious man. No, 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 no. The reality is you need to prophesy to your life. You don't need a preacher to do that. You don't need to be a Christian to do that. It is all about alignment in purpose. Alignment in purpose. Oh, I'm telling you the truth. Alignment in purpose is very crucial. Take responsibility, my brother. Take responsibility, my sister. It's going to help you. It will help you. So, there's a precious treasure and oil in the house of the wise. That very verse, I loved it. Proverbs 21, verse 20. There's a precious treasure and oil in the house of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up. There's precious treasure and oil in the house. You see, it is in knowledge that you will establish yourself. But silly, stupid people or foolish men swallow that idea up. They lose themselves in the process. They do not get it right because at the end of the day, they just want to satisfy their stomach or their stomachs. And that is why there are people who live as the day comes. They don't have a plan. So today comes, they get some money, they eat it, they wait for tomorrow. They're living like animals. You are a human being with a mind. And I love it how they did put it and how God designed us. There is what we call human wisdom, human wisdom and diligence. That is the aspect of humanity. There's a wisdom that you have that God did put in you that is so human. And there is, a diligence that is within you that can establish and will establish you if you're willing to get it right. What am I trying to say? There is precious treasure and oil in the house of the wise, but a foolish man swallows it up. So let me not take much time to that because I'm almost concluding. Remember this, companies that don't budget in Q1 collapses by Q3. So what do I mean? Companies that do not plan, people who do not plan, if you do not have a plan on what is fundamental, you will lose in the next phase of your life. You will lose in the next moment of your life. You will not propel to the highest of mountains. And that is why you will find there are people who want to get quick money. They want to act pornography. They want to act crazy things. They want to steal. They want to do crazy things because they want to make quick money. They want to get into Forex. They want to do crazy things. You know what I'm talking about? Because they want to make money quick. So at the end of the day, what happens? They lose the ability to become. They lose their way of being. So that is why I'm talking to you, my brother, in this very moment. Stano, thank you so much, brother. Thank you. So individuals are no different. You have to know that individuals are no different. You're not different from the other person. Remember, all the people that you see that are wealthy in this world, they are just human beings like you. But the system will create an idea in your head, Illuminati. The system will create a certain idea in your head. And that is why I get to hear poor people say, you know what, I better be poor, but I'm a poor man of God. I don't want to be a poor man of God. I want to be a wealthy man of God. I want to be a great man of God. Poverty is sickness. Poverty is trash. Poverty is an insult. I don't want to work in that. Walking in the place of poverty will only make you, make you not even have a name. And that is why I love this quote that says, a rich man's fat smells nice. It smells beautiful. Yeah? I'd rather have money, and when I fart, people will smile and say, hey, when a rich man makes a joke that is not really a joke, people will laugh. People will laugh and say, oh, yeah, it's a good joke. But at the end of the day, it is not even a good joke. It was not even a good joke at all. From the beginning, it was never. What am I trying to say? Money is good. Wealth is good. You need to create it. So wealth creation, it's all about attitude. It's all about decision making. What are you doing with yourself? And after you make this kind of wealth, even for those that are watching me and you've made wealth, after you've made it, I know the struggle is in maintaining that class, maintaining that standard. Discipline is what you require. Discipline is what you need. So let me conclude with this very last point. Point number 3. Delayed gratification is a spiritual weapon. Delayed gratification is a spiritual weapon. So what do I mean? I know for most of us, a month like this is not for enjoyment. And many other months, even there are those who did not enjoy the month of December. It is not a month of enjoyment, and it was never. But I want you to understand every time of your life, every year, It is for investment. It is not for employment. It is for investment. You are employed, my brother and my sister. What you need to do, you need to have alignment and focus within yourself. What good can you do? What best can you do with yourself? The world is waiting for you to have or to bring substance. That is what you need to do. The world is waiting for you to have a better place of making, platforms that they will enjoy. But the problem, my dear brother, is you're not ready to do that. You're only focused on employment. Oh, I want to be employed, to have six figures. You know what I'm talking about? But you need to realize the beauty of becoming is in you doing your best to invest so that you can enjoy even more. There are people who will say, I'm enjoying even now. It is okay how you're enjoying. But, fulfillment is not only about you being poor and enjoying life because you're poor. Money is good. Come on. You need to travel the world. You need to create memories. Your money is not only to buy a house and to travel the world. Right now I'm obsessed with this country, Switzerland. It's a beautiful country. And I'm desiring one of these fine days I'll go to that country. And you need money. Create systems that will structure you to greatness. So the ability to say, not now, is what separates builders from beggars. The ability to say, not now, it is what separates builders from beggars. What are you doing today? Who are the people you're working with? What are the things that you really desire to have? Sometimes you have to say, not now, so that you can focus on what is to come, so that you can begin to see yourself in a better place. There's a verse here that I love, Hebrews 12:11. All discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. I'm not here to preach. Standing, you saying, yeah, being stingy to yourself makes you stagnant in one place. I agree. So don't be stingy. Love yourself. Enjoy. Go out. Do. Experience the world. I'm not saying you sleep with so many women. I'm not saying you sleep with so many men. I'm saying enjoy the world. There's so many places you can go. The other day, I was just enjoying my moment and getting to see others. We went for zip lining. We went to do this and that. We were cruising. It was fun. Do something with yourself. Stop confining yourself to what does not bring purpose into your life. So people who can't delay pleasure will never sustain prosperity. Sometimes you have to delay pleasure, sexual pleasure. Certain things in this life I don't want to sound like an oxymoron, but the reality is you need to be based on purpose so that you can see your purpose bringing light and bringing concrete stability in your life. So, my dear brothers and sisters, we were talking about the concept of wealth creation. And I want to conclude by letting us know people who can't delay pleasure will never sustain prosperity. Let me conclude to there. If you want to learn more about what I'm talking about, there's a masterclass, and I'll be teaching more on this. I've only talked about 2 points. Number one, in fact, 3 points. 1, 2, and 3. And I have like 4 points, nearly 10 points. Vision setting in economic warfare. That is also a point. Please, if you want to learn more about Elijah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Catch up next time. Yes, next time on Saturday, 8 p.m. East African time, I will be here. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I'm always here from 8 p.m. East African time. So please be a part of this conversation. So I want to say thank you so much. If you want to learn more, if you want to get more of what I'm talking about, please share this live, share this very platform to as many people as you can so that they can subscribe and they can be a part of this moment. And let us continue to build each other and consider one another so that we can grow. So please remember, you can find me on www.salimcyrusconnect.org or www.salimcyrus.com. So the first website is where you come and just book. You can book a session with me. You can learn from me. You can be rejuvenated. You can book a session. You can book me for your event, and I'll be very happy to come and structure something that is of purpose. Stano, thank you so much. Have a good night too. So I want to assure you, let us be a part of this conversation. Let us address it. So on Saturday, we are going to be talking about understanding spirituality. And I'll be coming with a very good topic, a subtopic. So Saturdays, it's all about understanding spirituality. We are going to tackle this issue of religion and deconstruct ourselves from religious ideologies and bring about light to what is true and definite. Thank you, Derek Yakama. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate. So I want to let you know it's been a good evening. It's been a good moment. And for those that are going to watch the match of Arsenal and Liverpool, all the best. All the best indeed. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Thank you so much for coming through. Remember, go to www.salimcyrusconnect.org and www.salimcyrus.com. Remember, there's a masterclass that is coming. And if you want to be a part of the masterclass apart from this, it is coming. And I'll be very happy to have you on that very masterclass. You will learn. I'm going to be sharing details as soon as possible so that we are able to, to be grafted in what is of purpose. Thank you so much, guys. I want to say good night and let us meet on Tuesday, 8 p.m. East African time. Good night and be a person of character. Take responsibility.